Good morning once again, ladies and gentlemen. This is Offdoc Success coming to you live through Offdoc TV, live from Nairobi, CBD. We are back onto our pet topic, which you've been following very closely. Sorry. This pet topic is about the privatization of the port of Mombasa, and it has now currently taken the center stage in the national politics, as everybody now seems to be discussing the pros and cons of privatizing the port of Mombasa, the port of Lamu. It is quite clear and apparent that as the president is now visiting the coast region, the pet topic that he must now encounter, the pet topic that he must discuss, the topic that he must also give assurance to the Mombasa region and its citizens is what will be their take during the privatization of these two largely strategic ports. Like I've said before, the biggest impact will not only be on the resources that the government is laying out, but it will clearly be the employees who depend directly on the port of Mombasa for income, and also those who will depend indirectly the port of Mombasa for survival. And this is vast. In fact, the port of Mombasa and Lamu basically are the main government assets that controls and dictates the economy of the region. And therefore, however, the process of privatizing it must face so much headwinds because of the fears of the unknown. Now, as we discuss these matters, it is now quite clear. I've just done my little background check, and I've realized that the bidders have actually completed the site visits of these ports. That means the process for privatization has now gone full throttle, and soon they'll be moving into technical financial evaluations before they can award these two ports to the private operators. Looking across the border, our good neighbor in Tanzania have already awarded the ports to DP World, and then DP World seems to be a front runner also again in the privatization of these two ports in Kenya. Now, once Dar es Salaam falls in the hands of the DP World, and the port of Mombasa and Lamu falls also under DP World, then their strategy is to fully control the east coast of Africa, and therefore control also the trade routes that moves from the Far East to the East African coast. Will be dictated not by the shipping line anymore, but by the great influence of the DP World. And that puts, it lowers the status of the port of Mombasa, probably to remain a feeder port forever, which is would be a very unfortunate scenario. The port of Lamu will be a stillbirth port, stillbirth, by the way, maybe a white elephant for all intents and purposes, because with all its infrastructure and the multi-billion shilling investment in the port of Lamu, and yet very little performance is going on in the first port, in the first berth that has been established there. But the story of Lamu will come later. We are going to do a very comprehensive report on the port of Lamu, the pros and cons, and why it is necessary, and why they put the cart before the horse. How do you develop a port without the connecting infrastructure? Yeah, how do you do a berth without the railway system? How do you do a berth without the road connecting networks? How do you do the port without the pipeline being connected? So the port is now complete. Then how are the linkages? How do cargo reach the port? And how do cargo leave the port? So those are some of the things that we think we'll be discussing in our next topic when we discuss the port of Lamu, its current development, and what happens if it is privatized. Yeah, but if you ask my opinion, if I was the Kenya government, I would not let go the port of Lamu. The port of Lamu has got great potential. It's got deep water baths, which are not affected like the port of Mombasa, and it can bring in very big vessels, the type we call post-Panamax vessels, full cellular vessels that will come alongside those berths at Lamu Port. And there is proximity to the Horn of Africa. Its proximity to the Persian Gulf gives it the best advantage into moving into the markets on the upper part of Africa, and the Persian Gulf in the Middle East, and heading to the Far East. But today, let's talk about the privatization of the port of Mombasa, and this should be a challenge to our local investors. And I'm focusing today on our local CFS operators. We have got big CFS operators, big boys with big muscles, and they can literally close ranks, pull the resources together, and I can assure you they can have the strongest advantage in running the ports at the port of Mombasa as a private operator. I have in mind Focus, CFS. I have in mind Autoports. I have in mind Portside. I have in mind Bose Freight, Makupa. I have in mind Multiple, Regional. I have in mind Awanad, Interpel, and Global, LPC Global. All these are CFSs that have got financial might that if they should close ranks and pull the right strings, because there's some political undertones in this privatization, if they can close ranks, then they can get the best advantage and also give us the assurances that the local entrepreneurs will be able to take charge of the port of Mombasa and also safeguard the employment of our people, safeguard the economy of the region, and then also through patriotism be able to get a strategic asset for national security for this country. So I'm asking the CFSs, and I've had opportunity to meet quite a number of them, and they've got capacity, they've got the technical know-how, they've got the equipment capacity, and they have capability of moving to run these ports in a more efficient and a more effective way. But also, we must also consider the position of the county government of Mombasa. The government has come out very strong against privatization. But you see, in the past, a lot of noise against or resistance to privatization was hard, and the government made a step back in more than one occasion. But this regime does not seem to take political bickering as a serious matter when it comes to privatization. And that's why I can see they are not making a retreat on this matter. That means privatization is here with us. We must start getting used to the idea, and therefore must now re-strategize. We must look back, review our plans, and see how we can be part of the entire privatization processes. The Port of Mombasa has got everything that it takes. Privatizing of the Port of Mombasa does not really make sense because it has everything that it takes. Equipment are up to standard, trained, skilled, and motivated manpower are working in the port, But still, why would you want to privatize? If you are going to talk about the performance of the port, then looking at the addendums that has been added onto the advertisement for the bid for this privatization, it is quite clear that then performance is not really the center stage of deciding why to privatize the port of Mombasa, because the performance they were offering were the performance that are being offered. I mean, the current performance levels at the port of Mombasa, and therefore it must have been other issues that made the decision that this port of Mombasa must be privatized. But we must come down and prepare ourselves. The employees all people depend on the port must now re-strategize, because now tomorrow is going to be a different ballgame. Yeah, the port is moving from public service, it's going to the private service. Private comes with its own challenges, but the bottom line for private is minimum costs, maximum profit. Efficiency levels has got no room, yeah, for dilly-dallying, for pussyfooting, yeah, for being lethargic to work. Yeah, private sector does not entertain what we call usosti, and does not entertain what we call ureki. Yeah, absenteeism. Yeah, all these things must be changed. Yeah, if you're going to survive the new wave of privatization. But Kenyans are resilient. Kenyans are resilient in so many ways. And that's why I still believe that even with privatization, they'll still find the most skilled operators amongst the people of this country. The most skilled will still be found in the port. And the port and the employees of KPA will not lose out as much as people fear. It is only the fear of the unknown that makes people resist change. Yeah, and when change is inevitable, because the only thing that is constant in life is change itself. So change is inevitable, and therefore people must now review their position, review their status, and change also and go with the rhythm of this change so that they are not left behind. Yeah, they are not rendered irrelevant. Yeah, they are not condemned and made redundant. Yeah, or they ought to be made obsolete as the changes in the modernization of the port comes into play during the privatization process. So please subscribe to this channel. We need to increase the subscription and also help to circulate it through sharing through our friends. Make your comments down there so that we can now share our ideas and see how we can reach out to so many people and help educate and make people aware of what goes on in the port of Mombasa. But as they privatize the port of Mombasa, then we must also look at the standard gauge railway and how it will be affected by the privatization process. Then we have got two railway systems operating from the port, the meter gauge and the standard gauge railway. Now, will the concessioning also include the logistics? Yeah, the last mile. Yeah, the first and last mile of the movement of the cargo through the corridor, through the northern corridor, to the internal destinations. We need to get that information as soon as possible so that we know exactly what will be the entire impact of one operator controlling not only the port, but the supply chain that moves into the hinterland. Remember, the port being a public port is more of what we call a common user. That means all players, all clients, all shipping lines, all transporters are given equal opportunities to use the port of Mombasa. But once it falls in private hands, then the common user element becomes obsolete. And therefore, it depends on the policies or the strategies of the private operator coming into the port of Mombasa. So let me hear your comments. Strike on the notification button so that every time you roll out a new video, you are easily contacted or you get it real time. So until next time, please subscribe. Thank you so much. Until we meet next time.